Hey guys, it's the end of the summer, so it's time for me to give you my top 5 best films of the summer of 2017. And if you notice that my voice is a little off, it's because I got a cold at the worst possible time. And honestly, speaking of worst, this was originally going to be a top 5 best and worst of the summer of 2017, but this week has been filled with so much negativity that I figured I'd leave all my irritation and frustration for the end of this year. Alright, so without any more hesitation, let's get this started with number 5. Number 5 was based off of a real event, number 5 was brutal, and number 5 was one of the most powerful films I've seen so far this year, and that is Catherine Bigelow's film Detroit. Detroit was a film based on real events that I had no idea about, and it has very relevant social implications to today when in regards to bigotry and racism. And honestly, it's well directed, well executed, and the performances alone blew my mind. Everybody in the film does a great job. But honestly, Will Poulter, I gotta talk about him one more time, because honestly, if this guy does not get nominated for what he did in this film for Best Supporting Actor at the end of the year at the Oscars, I'm going to be furious. And although I'll admit once again this film is a definite hard watch, in my opinion it is one of the most important films you can see this year. Coming up next on this list is the best romantic comedy I have seen in years, and that is The Big Sick. Knowing that this movie would be about the true life events of Kumail Nanjiani, I was very interested to see it. But what I came out with is one of the best emotionally satisfying films I've seen in a very long time. It's got heart, it speaks a lot about relationships, it's funny, and the movie's just well written as a whole. Films this special don't come out but every once in a while, and I'm glad they don't because it makes them a whole lot more special. And like I've said before, this is my favorite romantic comedy since When Harry Met Sally. Now, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is definitely one of the biggest surprises I've got this summer, and that's Patty Jenkins' directorial debut in the DCEU with Wonder Woman. This film completely changed the game, not only as far as a DC film is concerned in the DCEU, but as a film in general. It's the first proper female-led superhero film we've ever gotten, the first female-directed superhero film directed by a woman, and the largest box office for any female director ever in recorded history. And from the action, the empowerment this film gives everybody, the lessons it teaches, and most importantly, the fun that it gives, Wonder Woman is not only one of my favorite films of the summer, it's one of my favorite films of this year. Alright, the second to last film on this list is a film that capped off a trilogy as well as the Return of the King did for The Lord of the Rings. Let's talk about War for the Planet of the Apes. It was the perfect end to Caesar's arc. It was powerful, it was heart-wrenching, it was dark, and it gave some very powerful messages about humanity. And although this movie is mistitled, I don't really think that's what people are going to be talking about. This is a very deep, dark, personal story on two sides about what you would do if you were put in the most dire of circumstances, if everything in your life was ripped out from under you. Matt Reeves made one heck of a debut with the Apes franchise when it came to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and while I may like that film more, nevertheless, War for the Planet of the Apes is one of the best endings to a trilogy I've ever seen, and the Planet of the Apes franchise is now one of the best trilogies ever made. In my opinion, of course. Now let's talk about number 1. This is a film I've seen 4 times already. I could probably see it 4 more times because every time I watch it, I get something new out of it. And I did a whole analysis on one of its characters, and that is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. I loved Baby Driver's style, I loved the characters, I loved the dialogue. It had a love story I bought into, and some of the best editing and action sequences I have seen in quite a while. This is a film that I recommend to everybody. In fact, I took my father out for his birthday to go see this movie, and he enjoyed it just about as much as I did. If there's one thing that Baby Driver solidifies for me, it's that Edgar Wright is one of the best directors working today, and he is going to become a household name, kind of like Quentin Tarantino or Steven Spielberg. And lest we forget, the music in Baby Driver is a character in the film, making the film overall extremely original and making it my number 1 of the summer of 2000. 2017. And there's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And just as a heads up, as far as my review for the novel of It before the film comes out, I have something very special planned for you guys. I was going to have just one big review for it, but I've decided next week, Tuesday through Saturday, I'm going to split it up into 5 parts. I'm currently working on filming the reviews right now, and let me tell you guys, I'm excited for it. And I think you're gonna like what you're gonna see. But as always, it is what you guys say that matters. So what have been your favorite films of the summer of 2017? Leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.